rift between Green Bay, which is why I believe they need to rip the Band-Aid off now and get started on their next window. Start determining how they're going to build a team to be a championship caliber team. Because this Aaron Rodgers thing is going to be bigger than just Aaron Rodgers departing from the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, it is going to be bigger than Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is that large and he'll have that kind of profound impact in the event that he doesn't end up remaining a Green Bay Packer, which I sincerely hope will happen, although I doubt it will. They ain't stupid, so they don't want to lose him. He's probably going to stay on board because he doesn't want to retire, and they've made it very, very clear they're not willing to unload him. But let's understand what that means. Let's put this in its proper perspective. I want everybody to understand this. That's essentially the Green Bay Packers saying, we don't give a damn that you don't want to play with us. You don't want to play for us. You don't want to be here. We don't care. We're going to use you up because you're under contract for us. We have your rights. We don't give a damn what you say. We don't care that you're miserable and you don't want to be here because Adam Schefter went on his podcast and reminded the world Aaron Rodgers does not want to be a Green Bay Packer. They don't care. So I want NFL players everywhere to understand this is an organization that basically is proving everything we've been saying about how they've treated Aaron Rodgers for years. They don't care about how he feels. They don't care about what he wants. They don't care about what he thinks he needs in order for him to be happy. They don't care. That's the bottom line, and that's what everybody should remember. And I hope all the players are paying attention to this when it comes to playing for the Green Bay Packers under Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst. Clearly, they don't care.
We're talking what the ripple effect would be if Rodgers left. You know where my mind goes, guys? Vegas. My mind goes right to Vegas. And I'm not talking about the odds. I'm talking about the AFC West. Do you know how gangster the AFC West would be if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, which I think is the most likely place? Think about this for a second. Yeah. You could argue Mahomes, the three most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Justin Herbert in the same division? Good luck, Gruden. Good luck, Vegas Raiders. That would be so brutal. Could you imagine? Mahomes, Rodgers, and Herbert got to play each other twice a year?
There would be a petition to get rid of the Denver Broncos from the division. Well, go ahead.
I mean, right, and that's the other thing. Denver is a hell of a team if they had a quarterback. And they wouldn't just have a quarterback, they'd have Rodgers. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl every year. I mean, and Justin Herbert, the way he played as a rookie, oh my God.
But Max, I think too, man, like we've had this conversation about like how these players are starting to learn and the moves that they're making and how they're being so vocal about how they want their futures to be. And you take Jalen Ramsey, for instance, and how he went about getting out of Jacksonville. And you think about where Jacksonville was prior to that. I think 2 or 3 years prior to that, Jacksonville was in the AFC Championship. Where's Jacksonville now? The ripple effect. And that's why I was thinking about this with Aaron Rodgers. And to your point, Max, like another man's trash is another man's treasure. We hear that all the time. But that don't mean the place that he leaves ain't going to become trash. And Green Bay is going to become trash for a while. If this saga plays out too long, like let's take this scenario. If Green Bay wants to play hardball and they want to continue this, well, we got you under contract to Stephen A's point, and they going to play this game with Aaron Rodgers, the rest of the league is looking. The rest of everybody in this league is looking. You better hope that these draft picks that you have turn into really good football players, because most teams are comprised of veteran guys. When you talk about championships, there's veteran guys. There's guys that's been around this league for a long time. Take what Tom Brady did, for instance. It was dudes beating the door down to go to Tampa because they knew that it was a high possibility that they would have a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Even though we've talked and lamented about Aaron Rodgers and what Green Bay hasn't done for him to set him up in position of Super Bowl, and I don't feel the same as everybody else. The bottom line is a lot of these guys, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith. You think about Devontae contract coming up. Bakhtiari, one of the top offensive linemen in the league. This cupboard is going to be bare in Green Bay. And I know Aaron Rodgers is responsible for a lot of the things that were successful, obviously, and where this team had the potential to go. We still talking about Green Bay as a potential Super Bowl contender and even playing in the game if Aaron Rodgers returns. But if Aaron Rodgers leaves, or if they play this hardball game and Aaron Rodgers stays at home and decides that he's never going to play with Green Bay again, which I think he will, the Green Bay Packers better be thinking about damn Jordan Love. They better be thinking about making sure that the guys in that locker room, in that organization, that they have a chance to re-sign or have a chance to be on their team going forward, that they do everything in their power to keep them. Because everybody's looking at this Aaron Rodgers situation, and it's not about the NFL. It's about how the Green Bay Packers are going to handle it, which is going to determine a lot of veteran players decide if they want to play there or not.
Well, Marcus Spears, first of all, I appreciate your astute take. It was eloquently stated, very astute, very on point. I just want to add that it's amazing the take that you had, because weeks ago, when I said those exact same things, you were in an uproar at Max and I because you felt we were making excuses for Aaron Rodgers. I just want to point that out. Yes, that's exactly what you did. That's exactly what you did. Here's the deal. From a football perspective, none of us are debating a single word that you said. We understand what Aaron Rodgers brings to the table, but we also understand the situation that he was in with a team back-to-back 13-3 seasons, competing for Super Bowl championship, how some of their struggles he had something to do with. What I was trying to say was that the football world is watching, because this dude is not telling you that the organization doesn't know what they're doing. This dude is saying to you how they treat people, particularly him, is no longer tolerable, and that's a message to be absorbed. And then when you look at today's player, how many times have you spoken about this, Marcus? Where it's a different day. Cats, the NFL, we know how much power the teams have. Max, you've articulated that position on many, many occasions. We know how much power the NFL has compared to teams in the National Basketball Association or even Major League Baseball. We get all of that, but times have changed, and player empowerment has elevated significantly within the National Football League. Green Bay might just be one of those organizations that's hell-bent on saying, hell no, we ain't gonna fall victim to that. And we gonna send a message that, you know what, folks ain't running an asylum, we are. That's what they could be doing. And Aaron Rodgers may be saying, oh, that's how you view me. That's how you've been treating me. We shouldn't tolerate this any longer. And that's exactly why you're right, Marcus. All of these players are watching. Somebody's going to always go to an NFL team. You got football players. There's only 32 teams. You got to get the money from somewhere. I get all of that. But in the end, let's pay attention to Brady with Belichick. The New England Patriots are who they are. We raved about the greatness of Belichick. But when Tom Brady departed, you had people clamoring to go with him because they knew how special he was. And the players have more influence with players than coaches do with them. And that's what we got to pay attention to.
And say the difference is, and I got all of that when you and Max was talking about it. What I'm talking about is from a football perspective for the Green Bay Packers as well. That's why I said you better rip the Band-Aid off and get started on the next phase of your organization and franchise and start rewriting how you want guys to look at you. I get it, like that is an obvious statement when you and Max were talking about how other players would look at this. That's why it's so crazy to me that the Green Bay Packers won't go ahead and get this over with. It's more detrimental to let this play out with a disgruntled Aaron Rodgers and you want to flex your power than to rip the Band-Aid off and get started with the Jordan Love era and try to usher in some new idea of what the Green Bay Packers are going to be.
Let me just say this.
That's my point. I still don't agree that they've done everything wrong like y'all try to make it sound when we having this conversation.
I'm only talking about the relationship with him, only.
The importance of the quarterback in the NFL has been elevated to the point where a few of them, 3-4 of them, are now the boss. And the sooner the front offices learn that, like Murphy and Gutekunst, you should repeat after me and say, Aaron Rodgers is my boss. Say it out loud. Say it at a press conference. You might start changing his mind. He is the one whose mind, you have to change his mind. If he has the guts, guys. If Rodgers has the guts to stick to his guns, you're going to have to change his mind. I can count 3 of them for sure, and maybe Russell Wilson's on the bubble. There is Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and Tom Brady. They are the ones calling the shots. Mahomes gets along with Reed and the whole thing, so it's good now. Rodgers does not get along with his team. Brady had differences in New England, and now just watch.
All right, let's talk about a happier subject.
But that's
Marcus, your former team.
Cut bait, man. Let's move on.
All right, that's what we're going to do. When we come back, Stephen A. calls the Cowboys Christmas because they're the gift.